watching my videos for the past few months. And hopefully, nakatulong yung mga videos ko sa inyong journey sa pag-apply sa Cyberbacker or for pag-consider sa pag-apply sa Cyberbacker. Now, ang ating topic ngayong araw na ito ay how to pass your final interview. Okay, so if nandito na kayo sa progress na how to pass your final interview, I am congratulating you in advance. So you have already finished the worst part, hindi worst, yung pinaka-challenging parts ng ating application process. Dahil dito is natapos nyo na rin ang values assessment. Marami sa ating mga applicants ang talagang nahuhulog or nag-fail doon sa part na iyon. So if you pass the values assessment, that's a first win sa inyo. And then you will have your initial interview, and then the CBPA, that's the second win. So once you get your CBPA at na-schedule na kayo for final interview, meaning you got in. So, syempre, hindi pa naman siya super deciding factor talaga na makukuha kayo, no? Marami pang factors which I will discuss. Pero, you got the basics na talaga. So, congratulations! I'm so happy. And let's discuss ngayon on how to pass your final interview. Kasi I'm sure nininervous kayo. Anong gagawin ko? Okay, so doon sa ating mga viewers na hindi pa nakapanood nung aking how to pass your initial interview, I highly suggest na panoorin niyo siya at isa puso ninyo kung ano yung mga tips ko na iyon, because those things that I've mentioned there are still the things that are essential sa pagpasok ninyo or pag-challenge ninyo sa final interview. Lahat yun essential pa rin, and they are all applicable sa final interview natin. So, I'm hoping that you go backtrack at malaman niyo ang mga detalye by watching it, and then you come back here dahil ang video na ito is more on additional things that might be discussed, and they're the tips that are usually asked during the final interview. Okay, but just a recap para sa ating mga nandito na sa ganito parts, no? So, what were those that discussed ko sa initial interview? So first is preparing your equipment. I discussed that thoroughly kung bakit essential siya. Siyempre, first impressions last. Yon. So you must have a good impression in terms of equipment dahil if choppy ka at hindi ka marinig, why should you be hired? If number one na magiging basihan ng iyong work performance is your internet connection or your ability to communicate with the clients and everyone in Cyberbacker through the internet. So, kailangan yung equipment mo very good. Next is, of course, your physical appearance, looking very professional. Mag-blazer ka or look at like a formal attire na mayroong colors. So, that would be really very helpful. And the third is emotionally ready ka to take the initial interview or any interview for the matter. You know what you want, ganon. And you are confident and happy when you do the interview. Siyempre, kailangan talaga siya sa ating frontal na pag, the more bubbly you are, syempre hindi overexcited, no? But the more engaging you are, the more your interviewer would like to ask more questions, be inquisitive, and be more interested in getting to know you. Diba? And number 4 is preparing your questions. I discussed it in the initial interview on how to go about that. So, balik na lang kayo doon on preparing the most common answers and questions interviews. And the 5th is preparing your powerful questions. Usually you will be really asked this sa final interview. Do you have any questions that you want to know about us or anything that you want to ask? So prepare it. And 6 is research about the company. Mas maganda talaga. And they have asked this kung anong alam mo about sa kumpanya or sa Cyberbacker. So I also discussed that sa previous video ko. So please watch it again if you are curious and need more details. But for now, let's proceed sa next natin, which is how to pass your final interview. So again, taking in consideration lahat ng ating mga sinabi or binanggit sa initial interview, we're gonna go now so paano natin ipasahin ang ating final interview. Okay, so aside from all those that I've mentioned, the first one would be preparing yourself for the discussions. So usual discussion questions. Ano ba pinag-uusapan dyan? Okay, definitely it is the CBPA results. So sasabihin nila sa iyo kung ano yung mga positions that are best fit sa iyo. So tandaan ninyo that it doesn't mean na ang in-applyan ninyong position ay, let's say, ang in-applyan ninyong position is social media backer or career consultant, is yun na din ang magiging position na i-offer sa inyo ni Cyberbacker. The CBPA takes into account yung skills mo and if it's applicable or fit ka ba dun sa in-applyan mo. So, i-discuss sa'yo yan ng career consultant mo kung ano yung mga options or mga best fit sa'yo na positions. They will always give you a lot of options. So, kung hindi mo alam kung ano yung ginagawa nila, of course, you should have done your research, or hindi mo forte yon sa tingin mo, you discuss it with your career consultant. And sasabihin naman sa'yo that there's no worry kasi ang CBPA nakakapagsabi siya that this is the best fit for you, so you will be trained for that. So you don't have any worries. Siyempre, sasabihin din nila sa'yo or bibigay nila sa'yo yung mga best positions that are usually talagang hinahanap, especially if it fits you. Usually yung cyberbacker, yun talaga yung mga positions na best fit sa atin. And also take note that they will be asking you if you're also willing to not be specific on that role. Tandaan niyo po na hindi ibig sabihin na yun lang ang in-applyan ninyo at yun lang din ang posisyon na best fit sa inyo, is yun lang ang trabaho mo. Example, as a cyberbacker, you are doing different tasks. Sometimes you would be managing the social media ng kliyente mo, so you're a social media backer. Sometimes you would be coordinating with the clients ng iyong mismong kliyente, which is, let's say, administrative tasks. Sometimes you would create portfolios, you would communicate, do cold calling, mga ganon. So that is the voice part or more on sales. So lahat yan nag-accumulate and lahat yan possible na maging trabaho mo isang kliyente. So you just have to be open to all those options and be very flexible on that. Don't worry naman kasi sabihin talaga sa ni Cyberbacker that you will be trained for that. And yes, ang training po natin ay may allowance. And if nagtatanong kayo if may chance ba na ma-fail tayo sa training, I think it happens. Yes, it happens na may nafi-fail sa training, but you don't have to worry dahil they give chances. So they discuss with you kung ano ang problema and then they will refer you back kay career mo. Kasi hindi si career nag-train. Refer kayo back sa career nyo and then the career will offer you a different position or, you know, yung gagawa tayo ng ibang ways. So you don't have to worry about that. But it seldom happens. Most of the time, we usually pass talaga your training. So we have no worries about that. So let's go to other things na dinidiscuss niya maliban sa positions. So next is our skills. So ano yung mga highlighted skills na magaling ka talaga? What are you proud of? So, kailangan mo yung sabihin. And I would suggest na yung mga skills na sasabihin mo dito is inclined doon sa position na ina-applyan mo. so that it would be an additional points, diba? And next is, I think they would be asking you your plans 5 years from now. Palagi talaga yung tinatanong, what's your goal 5 years from now? And this is applicable not only in Cyberbacker, but in any other company. They're not asking you kung anong gusto mo magpakasal after 5 years, gusto mo magkaanak, gusto mo magkabahay, kotse. Those are things that you could discuss, but they're not really something that the company is really interested in. What the company is interested in, or any company interested in asking that question, is, are you seeing yourself in the company 5 years from now? Nakikita mo bang sarili mo sa same company 5 years from now? Are you an investment? So ako ang kumpanya or employer, pag sinagot mo ko na, yeah, I see myself probably growing in this company, and learning more about the different jobs, and maybe having a high position in the company, yung mga ganon, ibig sabihin yan sa employer ay, okay, may ambition, okay, he is interested in staying, hindi lang siya part-time dito tapos alis na agad, patikim-tikim. So, tandaan nyo, ngayong generation ngayon, it's very common na umaalis talaga yung ating mga tao. Gabing-gabi. Parang ganun. Umaalis yung mga tao sa company after a few years. They do jump. But, any company, hindi mo maipipigilan yan. They would always ask if you are willing to stay. So, that question, or subtly, they will be asking it through, what are your goals and plans 5 years from now, 10 years from now? So, be prepared for those answers. And I would suggest something that goes in line with the company. Okay, and I think that's it. Aside from other questions that they might ask you during a final interview is, of course, maliban sa strengths and weaknesses or ganyan, why should we hire you? Aside from everything else, bakit ikaw ang hahanapin namin, or bakit ikaw ang kukunin namin aside from other applicants? So, dito sa bagay na iyan, one thing that mabibigay ko, maliban sa pag-highlight mo ng skills mo, dahil parehas din naman kayo ng skills lahat dyan, at you are already in that final interview because all of you are being considered. So it's always an additional incentive to research about the company. Look at what are their current news about the company. If you would see the company currently or lastly invested in tree planting, or had a, how do you call that, donation run, mga ganon, you can always add that sa iyong reason as to why you're choosing the company. You say that aside from the fact that I see myself in this company for a long time, I really respect the idea of the company on going to or doing a lot of tree planting activities for nature and such. And I think that those goals of the company goes in line with me and my goals as well. Aside from my skills in this current position that I am in and that one I'm applying for, I am also interested in other activities that is shared by the company. So I think that the goals and objectives of the company are very much in line to what I see myself in the future doing. So mga ganong additional incentives, not necessary, but you can add it. Okay. Of course, additional things is just go with the flow and look at interview questions online. Diba? Okay, tapos na tayo sa preparing yourself for the discussion. So the second is, of course, again, I'm going to say this, it is equipment. So, what does it mean if it's an equipment, no? Kasi na-discuss na natin to sa initial interview. But here, talagang si career consultant ay hihingan kayo ng screenshots ng iyong mga, talagang sa mga screenshots ng iyong internet connection and internet connection ng iyong other device. So, dapat dalawa device mo. Isang main at isang extra device for the internet connection. And same din sa computer or PC. So, hindi po pwede ang iPad or tablet or cellphone as an extra device. It has to be a different PC for the matter, or laptop. So, they will be asking you to screen share yung via Zoom, screen share mo yung specs ng laptop mo. Which is, if you're lying about your laptop or current specs ng laptop mo, makikita agad. So, I would suggest that you use the appropriate equipment. Dahil I think hindi ka talaga makaka-start immediately if masyadong malayo sa requirement ang iyong equipment. So for me, I think common question na itatanong niyo is, paano kung wala akong ibang equipment? Or what? Wala din naman po akong ibang equipment. What I did is I showed them an equipment ng cousin ko, which is actually my former laptop na pinahiram ko sa kanya. And ginagamit niya ngayon. And he is in a different, he lives somewhere else. So sabi ko, this is the equipment of my extra computer. And if ever that my new computer, kasi kakabili ko lang yun, my current computer could not function, then I could just get that and borrow it back. So I think they accepted it. And then my main line for your internet. So my main line is PLDT, naka-fiber optic ako. And my extra one is, in-accept naman nila, is yung phone ko. My phone is 5G enabled. So ang Mbps niya would run around 17, 20 Mbps and up pag yung 5G ng cellphone. So I'm quite lucky with that. So they accepted it. And then of course my current PLDT line has around 50 to 100 Mbps na, And take note that it is a requirement na ang ating internet connection ay wired or LAN cable ang nakakonect. So at the time ng interview sa akin ay naka-Wi-Fi ako kasi tagal ko nang hindi naka-LAN. So sabi ko, if I'm not able to provide it immediately, would it be okay if I invest on that some other time later? Kasi I also explained na malayo yung router sa computer ko. So, kailangan ko pang tignan kung paano na hindi ako madapa pag nilagay ko yung wirings na gano'n. So, they approved and then they agreed naman na at a later time na lang yung internet. As long as maganda naman yung internet connection ko during the interview. So, hindi naman siya palya at maganda naman ang speed. So, yon, kailangan mo ng extra PC. You don't have to have the extra PC during the interview. Pero kailangan may screenshot ka ng specs ng extra PC mo na inline din sa specs na hinanap nila. Ang easy screenshot lang talaga nila is yung current PC na ginagamit mo. At ang last is, I think they would be asking you if you're separated from your previous company or if you have a current job. Ganyan. So, if you have mga Upwork, jobsonline.ph, or well-known sites, they will have to ask you to take it down. Hindi po kayo makaka-proceed sa next step if you don't take it down. Next is if you do not or are not currently separated from your company, kasi they will really ask you to focus on Cyberbacker. So you have to give them a proof that hindi ka na nagtatrabaho nun. So for me, it has been a few months since ako'y hindi na pumasok or hindi na pumasok. Parang nag-awol ako, no? And I was separated or kasi ng words, I resigned from the company or my last company. It's been several months at on process pa yung final pay ko and my COE. So I could not provide it to them. So ang ginawa ko is I provided them a screenshot picture ng aking or scan copy ng aking resignation letter with acknowledgement ng HR or ng aking boss, and also screenshots of my clearance as proof na nag-process talaga ako, hindi na ako connected, and also an email trail from my previous employer wherein I was asking kung ano na ang nakailangan sa trabaho ko, sa new work ko, and that hindi pa nila available yung aking COE dahil on process pa ang aking clearance. So, yun, accept naman nila, but at a later time, pag available na ang aking COE, then I should send it to my career consultant, which I will pag available na. So, yun. Ang ating basic lang naman na things that you need to be prepared kapag nasa final interview kayo, aside from the basics na sinabi ko na before, no? So, again, I think I mentioned it before that you can beautify yourself kay Zoom. Like ito. Walang color, pero may color na. Yung ganon. So final interview pattern and everything, I would suggest that maglagay kayong lipstick. Kasi nga, it's nawawala-wala, and sometimes if hindi maganda yung camera ninyo is hindi siya makikita, so at least maglagay na lang kayo ng physical lipstick para totoo tong kilay ko, hindi to so yeah, look professional. If you have any other questions na gusto ninyong malaman tungkol sa final interview that I can help you with, then feel free to comment below and I'll do my best to answer them truthfully. And yes, I think that's it. Nalista ko, tumitingin ako sa baba kasi may notebook. Hindi pala kita. Wala. May notebook ako. So, yep, that's it. And congratulations in advance. Good luck. And hopefully, lahat tayo ay magkita-kita sa Cyberbacker.